Hi everyone, welcome to another Literacy Fridays lesson. Today we are looking at sight words and sight vocabulary as we continue in our series about understanding literacy assessment terminologies. So we're looking at sight words and sight vocabulary. Sight vocabulary is the complete list of words that you are able to recognize immediately upon seeing them without having to use any word recognition strategies. So those are the words, a complete set that you're able to recognize immediately upon seeing them. Well, I know that persons may say that the word immediately may speak to some sort of relativity in time. How do you really know if someone knows something immediately? Well, in terms of literacy assessment, we apply a 3 to 5 second rule to determine if the word that you're seeing is actually a part of your sight vocabulary. And the true test of whether or not it's in your sight vocabulary is if you are able to say the word in those 3 to 5 seconds maximum. Now, a common question we get is why just 3 to 5 seconds? 3 to 5 seconds may seem insufficient, but trust me, it is more than enough time. It is more than enough time to know if that word is a part of the person's sight vocabulary, simply because proficient readers, even if they don't recognize the word on sight, they are able to use word recognition strategies to figure out a word in 3 or 5 seconds or even less. So if they're good with phonics, if they're good with word association, they may pull on their memory or sound out a word in 3 to 5 seconds, and that would mean that the word was not truly a part of their sight vocabulary. So what really are sight words? Sight words are those words that we are expected to know and be able to instantly say upon seeing them. So once we see them, we should be able to say it. Let's try the following as they appear on your screen. You may be wondering who determines which words are considered as sight words. Well, linguists do. Most sight words are high frequency words. When we say high frequency words, we mean words that are commonly used in writing. So they are words that you're supposed to be very familiar with simply because they come up a lot in text material. Also, many sight words cannot be decoded by phonics, so they cannot be sounded out. So that's the nature of sight words. They're popular words commonly used in speaking and writing, and they generally cannot be sounded out. That's why sight vocabulary tests are authentic. It's either you know the word or you don't. In a previous lesson, we would have looked at orthographic vocabulary. Is there a difference between sight vocabulary and orthographic vocabulary? Or orthographic vocabulary consists of those words that even if we don't know what they sound like, we actually recognize them on sight, we understand them, and we know what they mean. Let me start the explanation by pointing out that all words in our sight vocabulary are a part of our orthographic vocabulary. Now, the slight differences are that one, with our orthographic vocabulary, we don't necessarily have to know how the words are pronounced, but with our sight vocabulary, we must know how they are pronounced. Also, with sight vocabulary, you must be able to recognize and say the words within 3 to 5 seconds. But with the orthographic vocabulary, it can just be a part of your memory bank, but you may not be able to call upon them immediately. But once the word is a part of your memory, in terms of sight memory, then it's a part of your orthographic vocabulary. But if you're not able to say the word immediately, then it's not a part of your sight vocabulary. As I close out today's lesson, I must look at this controversial aspect: how to develop one's sight vocabulary. And my only answer is to read more. Now, I know there are lots of educators who will say otherwise and come up with multiple strategies. Listen, I am all about just reading more, and that's how you are going to enhance your sight vocabulary. And since we're emphasizing sight vocabulary, it simply means you have to be reading textual material. Wherever you see words, pause, look at them, sound them out now, and then tomorrow you'll be able to even call them immediately. And if we don't allow our children to develop the habit of just reading labels, reading signs, then they will not be able to develop their sight vocabulary in a true and enriching way. Some teachers, some parents too, who will just go online, print a list of all of the sight words per grade level, and just give it to the child and say, listen, you need to learn these words in 2 weeks, or by the end of the year you must know these words. Yes, they ought to know it by a particular age and at a particular level or the end of a particular period, but it's no use giving them the full list of words and expecting that we're going to let them swat it, as we say. No, let's provide our students with real enriching experiences where they're able to discover words and their meanings within context, within different environments, within different texts. That's how they're going to develop as proficient readers. If we give them the list and say, listen, go and spell these words, spelling the word is one thing. Are they able to pronounce the word? Are they able to make meaning of the word when they see it elsewhere? As I said, I know that some educators will come down hard on me with this one, but I am not the type, and I will not promote this kind of thing where you print a list of sight words, because we know the particular sight words that we use. Some parents will even Google it, some teachers do it too, and download the top 100 high frequency words, have their 3-year-olds practicing these words. Yes, it's good for them to practice, but do they actually know it? And then we have those teachers who will simply make those sight word lists become the spelling list for the week. So they give the child 10 every week, then it increases 20, then 30. Then the children have to stand and spell these words or write these long lists. And if they don't get them correct, they feel somewhat disappointed when truly these words could not even be sounded out. Well, the majority of the words could not be sounded out. And then when the child doesn't know it, the child becomes demotivated, when in fact it was an adult's fault for causing them to try and shortcut the learning process. So once more, to develop our sight vocabulary, let's just read more.